I don't care who you play, whether it's a high school team, a junior college team, a college team, much less an NFL team. When you turn the ball over 5 times, 4 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, 3 others in field position to set up touchdowns, you ain't gonna beat anybody I just talked about. Anybody. All right? And that was a disgraceful performance, in my opinion. We threw that game. We gave it away by doing that. We gave them the friggin' game. In my opinion, that sucked. What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Shut up, Brian.
Welcome to the pod. Welcome to Brian's World. I am your host, the ambassador of Kansas City. Kansas City's favorite son, Brian B. Shynin.
Shut up, Brian.
And I'm so blessed and honored that you're here with me because you literally could be doing something else. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me, and I am not going to waste your time. Shout out to my family at Foolish Club Media, where we got all the Chiefs podcasts cracking during the season. Go ahead, rate, subscribe, review, all at Foolish Club Media on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course on YouTube. And yes, while you're on YouTube and you're checking out Foolish Club Media, make sure you like and subscribe to the B Shynin page. We can check out everything that's going on with me, Brian B. Shynin. Brian's World drops every single Wednesday, except for last Wednesday. I'll get to that in a second. Every single Wednesday, Brian's World drops on YouTube. You can check out my Hustle and Shine in the morning content. My mixes, beats, R&B Shining, everything that's in Brian B. Shining and what I do, you can find it on my YouTube page at B Shining. Time's running out for our Chiefs and their quest to, I want to say get to the Super Bowl, but damn, we got to make the playoffs. The Chiefs' quest to make the playoffs, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the problems that they had against the Cowboys and what they can expect against these Texans coming up this week. I also want to talk about how this year has just been a really, really weird NFL year. It's not only the unpredictable outcomes, but it kind of feels like something is shifting, something is changing. We'll discuss that. And yeah, it's the top of the month, beginning of the month. That means we got the NFL phrase game cracking. And damn, I'll be waiting till the contenders fall off, but it's 11 in the AFC and 10 in the NFC. We'll get to that, as well as B Shining's bets, and we'll tap in with another fit check. Before I talk about the Chiefs and get into that, I just want to say that this show is dedicated this week to my brother-in-law, Mr. James Little. He was a very beloved man from Manchester, Kentucky. And I'm still sending love and prayers, not only to my wife, of course, she needs him a lot because that's her brother, but to my father-in-law and to the rest of my family in Kentucky. I love y'all. I'm thinking about y'all. And that is why I couldn't do the pod last week, y'all. So I also want to take time, just to apologize to the supporters and listeners of Brian's World. I appreciate y'all tapping in. I really wanted to do a pod last week, but my heart and soul was not on work. It was totally focused in on my wife. Still is, always is, but I had to make sure that she was good and the family was good. And so I just decided to just take a time out, even though it was some things I really wanted to get into. But I couldn't do it, man. So still thinking about my family in Kentucky.
I'm telling you, it's a few plays there. That's what it is. And penalties are killers. And you want to create turnovers on the defensive side. And when you have opportunities to do that, you've got to capitalize on them. Third downs become important, both sides of the ball, how you handle those. So can we do better with the rush? Yeah, we can get a little bit more rush on the defensive side. On the offensive side, we can continue to work our protection and scheme there. So, but you can't allow quarterbacks at this level to stand back there and throw the ball with just comfortable feet. I think we know that. And so you've got to make sure that you have pressure on those guys. And when that takes place, then you've got to make sure that your coverage is tight. So, and that's what you work on. You go through that and you work on it and try to get better. You see teams 2 weeks ago, you looked at the Dallas Cowboys and you kind of went, they're just playing okay. You know, 2 weeks later, they're playing good football. And so these things change. Things change quickly in this league, one way or the other. And so you've got to keep going forward, and try to eliminate some of the things that are taking you backwards, and do it with a positive attitude. It's the only way to go. If you're coming to me on this, Matt, I'm telling you, we're going to go after you every game, and that's how we roll. We're going to try to tickle your tonsils on every play, every
Pause.
game. And
Pause. That was crazy.
but that's the attitude that we're coming in with, and then you let the chips fall where they may. But at the same time, you got to make sure you take care of the small things here that we've got rolling. We've got to make sure that we get rid of some of these mistakes. But there's not a game that I go into that I don't think we're going to get after you.
Just these damn penalties, man. That sticks out a lot. It's a lot of things that stick out. But number one, the Chiefs just keep killing themselves. And this is not a playoff team right now as it stands. Could some of the things that they have wrong with them be fixed? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's 5 weeks or so left into the playoffs. Normally, teams at this time of the year, you are who you are. And right now, the Chiefs are we got to look at these guys as a mediocre 6-6. Their record indicates that a mediocre team who kills themselves, who's been in games. They've been in, every game has been close, but they constantly, championship teams don't do that. They don't. They don't constantly make errors and blunders at critical parts of the game. And I couldn't believe my eyes with, I'm not one to blame the refs. Y'all know how I stand on that, and how it's just a part of the game with how they ref and how referees are. You're going to get bad calls. You're going to get good calls. You're going to get calls you agree with. You're going to get calls that you disagree with. You're going to get calls you be like, damn, okay, we lucky. It is what it is. But just some of the things that they were doing on the Trent McDuffie and CeeDee Lamb interactions or plays, it was just, some of those calls were egregious. It was. We've seen Trent McDuffie perform so well so many times in so many bigger stages than Thanksgiving, a regular season, week 13 game in the NFL. We've seen this man in the Super Bowl. We've seen him in critical playoff games play well. And I just don't think that the referee's assessment of how he was guarding CeeDee Lamb is accurate. Now, if people want to take that and say that I'm blaming the refs, whatever, go ahead. I don't give a damn. Even though I'm not, the Chiefs beat themselves. The Cowboys were better than the Chiefs that day. So I'm not saying that the refs made the Cowboys win or made the Chiefs lose, but damn, any football mind can sit there and say that most of those calls were questionable going against Trent McDuffie with CeeDee Lamb. So, but that got people talking. That has people looking at Brett Veach. And you think about who's to blame for where the Chiefs are right now. And these conversations always drum up when it comes in these times of adversity. And a lot of people point a finger at him about paying George Karlaftis, $93 million, $62 million guaranteed, 4 years. and how his production level isn't matching up to that contract at all. And it's not. You got to look at it for what it is. That is the contract that Karlaftis got. That is a very good pass rushing contract, second contract with the same team. And his production this year, even when you have Chris Jones, even when you got him on your defensive line and you still can't produce, that's a problem. Another problem that people are pointing at Brett Veach about is the lack of D line other than Karlaftis, and you look at it and the sack totals just are not there. The Chiefs have 15 sacks. Myles Garrett alone has 19.
Damn.
Something else people point at Veach about, the running back issue. Offensive line depth. This George Karlaftis contract is sticking out. It is. I just expect for my first round draft pick, who I got to a second contract, to have at least double-digit sacks. I think that's the lowest expectation that you can have of George Karlaftis. So when you sign those type of contracts, you're going to get this type of backlash when A, the team ain't winning, and B, if the team ain't winning because of you. It's not solely on Karlaftis, but his position group got a lot to do with it. Because the Chiefs not having a pass rush is a major, major issue. It's a big issue, dog. The fact that they can't get off the field on and it's not like it's 3rd and 3 or it's 3rd and 4, it be 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 7, and we can't get off the field. A big part of that is because there's no pass rush and quarterbacks are free to just roam around and run around and try and make a play and wait for a receiver to get open or wait for a tight end to loop around and come back and rearrange a route. Because there's no fear in the pass rush. Because there's nobody applying any type of pressure. Bo Nix did that shit. 3rd and 15, he runs around, scrambles around for about 5 or 6 seconds. No pressure on him. Scramble around, run around, finally gets a receiver open. It's only so long your defensive backs can cover, especially when Brian Cook goes down with an ankle injury and your entire defensive backfield just shatters. They just collapse. You know, Christian Roland Wallace, he was hurt. We couldn't rely on him. And it showed up in a major way. The lack of depth in that defensive backfield, specifically in the safety spot. And it makes you wonder if Brett Veach is having second thoughts about letting Justin Reed walk. Because I'm sure he could help on some of them 3rd downs. Something else that can help on 3rd downs is Spags calming down on the damn blitzing. Me, I love to blitz. I do. I love it for the most part when we do blitz. But there are certain times, hence the Cowboys game, where we didn't need to do all of that. When Dak is in there throwing slants because he knows that it's going to be one-on-one with either George Pickens and or CeeDee Lamb, throwing slants, man, it's the easiest pitch and catch in the world, especially when you got a big body receiver like George Pickens, who is physical, who wants one-on-one coverage, who can easily get inside of a guy and make an easy 8 to 9 yard catch for a 1st down. That's still the deal for the Chiefs against the Cowboys. But how many times constantly on 3rd and long do we have to see this team blitz? And yes, I am jumping for joy when we actually do get to the damn quarterback. But lately, we ain't been doing that at all. So another thing that happens when you constantly blitz on these 3rd downs, on these 3rd and longs, because we can't manufacture pressure with just our 4 defensive linemen. So we have to bring a blitz. So we got to bring a corner. So we got to bring Nick Bolton and Leo Chenal at the same time. because we don't have a pass rush, because we have to blitz to apply pressure to the quarterback. Leaves everybody one-on-one. So it becomes very predictable. Teams know what you're about to do. And that's half the battle with football. If I know what you're going to do, or with sports, period, if I know what you're about to do, I'm just going to do something different. So 11 consecutive quarters without registering a sack is an abomination for this Chiefs defense. You know, not getting off the field on third down constantly is an abomination for this Chiefs defense, and why we're not in the playoff picture right now. 28th in the league and getting off the field on third downs. That's terrible at 43.57%, man. The Cowboys were 60% on third down against the Chiefs.
Lord have mercy.
So, as long as the Chiefs stay not getting off the field on third down, they're not going to beat any team left on the schedule, let alone any team in the playoffs. Then you look at the offense, and I just want to say I thought Patrick Mahomes played a very, very good game. That throw that he made when he almost got sacked, running to his right, fourth quarter, he's stumbling. I thought he was getting ready to fall. He kept his balance and made an incredible, I want to say it was 40 yards or something like that, to Xavier Worthy. It kind of looked like that throw he had in the Super Bowl where his body was like parallel to the ground. But he makes that throw to Xavier Worthy, and he got all this wide open ass field and gets chased down after that throw. You one-on-one with a guy. It's only you and him. You got this big wide open. I know he got the angle, but you can't whoop-de-woo. You can't dip. You can't doodle. You can't bob and weave or nothing. That was an incredible play by Mahomes right there. Crazy he got that off. But again, the running game, it was there. It was working, especially with them putting Pacheco back in and making sure that he's healthy and getting him back in the game plan. But they continue to A, run it out of shotgun, and then B, abandon the run. They abandon it. All the time in late game situations. They're good with running the ball in the first half. Third quarter, you see it drift off a little bit, and depending on what the score is, they're not running the ball at all. But the Chiefs have a bad habit of abandoning the running game late in games, especially when things get tight, and they continue to run it out of shotgun. Sometimes that's fine. It works sometimes. But damn it, if we're going to run the ball, especially early on in the downs, just run it under center or do pistol. It doesn't have to be a shotgun run all the damn time, man. I can't count how many times it's been third and short, third and 2, third and 1, and you got Kareem Hunt to his right or to his left, and he's in shotgun, and we know damn well he's finna go get the ball right to him on some type of trap that he's waiting on Sumatai to come pull, from the left side or something. It boggles my mind, man. The fastest point from A to B is a straight line. Just go straight with it, man. Just old school football. I know I'm talking about Andy Reid and we keep harping on this run game, but it's so important and it's so easy and it's like it's right there for the taking. And another thing, especially this week against the Texans, I just want to see a little bit of Dameon Pierce. I know I'm probably asking for a lot, especially when you're probably going to have Bashar Smith and Pacheco active along with Kareem Hunt. Not even sure if Dameon Pierce is going to be active, but can we see him a little bit against his old team so he can show out just a little bit, so he can maybe get us a 10, 20-yard gain or something on a couple plays, get us a little energy? I'm probably asking for too much right there. I don't know. I just a believer that, guys want to prove their former team wrong and they can add a little extra juice, a little energy because this team needs it, especially with the offensive line injuries, which is my biggest concern with this team now, as the margin for error is so thin. And you lose Josh Simmons And I think they're talking about this is a long-term injury. So it's not, we'll put him on for IR for about 4 weeks or whatever, and he'll be ready for the playoffs. Nah, I don't think this is that type of injury. As I'm recording this on Sunday night. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong about that. But with no Josh Simmons, good luck. Now, depending upon if Jawan Taylor is hurt or not, going against these Texans this week, I don't know how much of a shot the Chiefs have against Houston. Because the pass rushers they got over there and the defense they got, they are licking their chops if Wanye Morris is starting at left tackle. I just have one question. And I love this guy. We had him on the show on Arrowhead Allies a couple years ago, and he's a great guy. But from what I've seen on the field, why the hell is Wanye Morris still on this team? Why?
Well, I think he's a good backup, but he's not a guy that you could depend on, I think, for a whole, season, obviously, or even a couple games in the season. He's a guy you could throw in there and just like Andy said today, he said, listen, the first series or two, he wasn't very good. And as the game went on, he got a little bit better. But, I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I think, Wande Morris is, he's probably a 7 or an 8 or a 9 offensive lineman on a team. And you need those guys, but, you don't want to have to have those guys play. And unfortunately, the Chiefs have had that this year with the Josh Simmons deal where he missed, a month basically with some personal issues, and now he's hurt. You have Jawan Taylor, who's, banged up and hurt. And, you have Smith, who's banged up and hurt. Yet last week I looked out there and there was 2 starters in. So that's just not a good recipe for winning football games to have, basically 3 of your starters out going up against a tough Dallas defense.
He's not even a good backup, man. I'm sure he's a cool guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy or whatever, but the Chiefs should really think about moving on from him as soon as they can. I know it's a conversation for another day right now, but that is just how terrible he looks all the time, every time when he goes out on the field. There has been no improvement from that man. 0 since he entered the league with the Chiefs. And so if you got him starting at left tackle, man, I don't know. We need Jawan Taylor to be healthy this week. And unfortunately, he's going not only up against one of the most ferocious pass rushing duos in the league and one of the currently one of the hottest pass rushing duos because they've been getting after it the past 4 or 5 weeks. But Chris Collinsworth, probably Jawan Taylor's biggest op, is going to be in the booth calling this game. And if you remember, the first game that Jawan Taylor ever played with the Chiefs was on Sunday Night Football. I think it was that Lions game where his reputation, got exploded into the scene with him being offsides all the time and being the number 1 penalized player in the National Football League. Started with Chris Collinsworth and that opening game against the Lions in 2023. But if you have Jawan Taylor at your right and you got Jalen Moore at the left tackle spot, I will be okay with that. And I would think that the Chiefs have a chance. But if Wanye Morris is over there, you can forget about it. And then you got to think about Trey Smith. Is Caliendo still going to be at right guard? When his offensive line is questionable or when it's trash, Mahomes and the Chiefs have no chance. We've seen it too many times. And not only do we know it, but the defense knows it. Like, they be over there salivating. Max Crosby and them was salivating, laughing, loving the fact that Wanye Morris was at left tackle. So, these injuries, man, they are concerning with this O-line. Because I don't think that Andy Heck, Chiefs offensive line coach, can get it right. Big test against these Texans this week.